After 6 years in Azerbaijan, Ali Asghar signed his divorce papers, sold his coat and watch at a second-hand market, and bought a one-way ticket back to Pakistan. He was leaving Baku the same way he arrived, with a single bag and no local assets to his name. He landed at Jinnah International Airport at dusk. While other passengers were met with garlands and families celebrating a successful stint abroad, Ali walked through the terminal alone. He hadn't told his family which flight he was on. This image captures the total sum of his 6 years abroad. After counting his remaining cash under the airport lights, he had exactly 4,400 Pakistani rupees, about $16. It was the absolute bottom of his financial life. He took the bus home, leaning his forehead against the cold window for 4 hours. In that reflection, he saw a man whose titles had all been stripped away. He was no longer a husband, a resident of Baku, or a business owner. But as the bus moved through the night, he began to inventory what remained. The banks could take his savings, and the courts could end his marriage. But his ability to architect software was an internal asset. He still knew how to build. This is the distinction between extrinsic wealth and intrinsic capital. Money and property are subject to the volatility of life, but technical skill, the factory in your fingers, is a permanent piece of infrastructure that travels with you. He reached his mother's doorstep and told her he had returned with nothing. She simply took his bag and told him the food was warm. That lack of judgment provided the psychological stability he needed to begin the next phase. Back in his childhood room, he found the old radio he'd taken apart as a boy. It served as a reminder of his core competency, the ability to deconstruct a broken system and reassemble it into something functional. He had $16, which meant he couldn't buy his way into a new life. He would have to code his way in. Software development allowed him to bypass the need for traditional capital by substituting it with thousands of hours of focused technical labor. Ali put his 4,400 rupees into a trading account and spent his nights staring at candlestick charts. He was looking for patterns in the gold and forex markets, using the limited capital he had to test his theories of price action. The third-party trading platforms he used were slow and expensive, eating into his razor-thin margins. One night, while fighting a laggy interface, he stopped looking at the price of gold and started looking at the network requests on the screen. He recognized the architecture. He'd built more complex systems for high-end clients in Baku. He realized he was standing on the wrong side of the software. He was a full-stack developer acting as a consumer of a product he was fully capable of manufacturing himself. Here, the trader takes full risk, trying to profit by guessing the direction of this volatile line. But the infrastructure builder operates the surrounding frame, securing a fraction of every transaction. Their revenue is tied to the volume of the race, not who wins. Ali had a rare combination of skills. He understood the psychological pain of the trader, and he had the engineering depth to build the environment to alleviate it. He decided to stop betting on the track and start building it. To fund this, he ran 2 engines simultaneously. Engine A was active trading to generate immediate liquid cash. Profits funneled into Engine B, buying server space to code his terminal. Eventually, brokerages paid to use his engine under their names. Client contracts plugged directly into his infrastructure, and personal trading disappeared. This was bootstrapping through technical leverage. He used a high-risk, short-term activity to fund the creation of a low-risk, long-term strategic asset. The business expanded into Southeast Asia. Ali began closing enterprise deals with major firms in Jakarta, moving the company from a bedroom in Pakistan to the high-rise financial centers of Indonesia. He scaled the operation into Kuala Lumpur, providing the back-end infrastructure for regional brokers who needed the speed and reliability his engine offers. Soon, he was managing a high-tier corporate presence in Singapore. The man who once sat on a 4-hour bus with $16 was now being flown in for board meetings as a technology partner. He purchased a black BMW 3 Series. It was a physical manifestation of his return to the world, paid for entirely by the code he had written in his childhood bedroom. His move into global financial hubs followed the logic of his transition from a platform user to a platform architect. He had moved up the value chain, becoming a provider of the very tools the global market depends on. But the business world has its own form of betrayal. Late one night, Ali opened a link to a new competitor's website. It was a perfect pixel-for-pixel clone of his own platform.
Every feature he had spent years engineering had been copied overnight. He had built a world-class racetrack from a $16 starting point. Now he faced a new threat. When your blueprint is the most valuable thing you own, someone will eventually try to steal it.